Alright. So, welcome back. We're going to be discussing quite a bit of stuff about this hurricane, what it's doing right now. I mean, Tropical Storm Debbie. Um, got that tornado warning that just expired here, basically near the spring area. See velocities. Couple areas of rotation along this new band. Hmm. There definitely could be some areas of concern possible. Let's look down here. Everglades City, this isn't really warning. Well, doing too much. Warning any of us here, at least. Could see. What are these ones doing? Not much rotation on those, thankfully. Here, give me 1 second. Alright, so let's look at some of these model runs. Looks like Monday at 12Z. Could definitely see, so this is early Monday morning. Could definitely see some heavy rainfall there near Florida area as it moves inland, definitely causing some issues. And then Wednesday is a real concern. Friday could have some concerns. Um, yeah, that's definitely concerning for the short term here. Let me do this. By end of Friday, there's areas of 14 inches, upwards of 15 inches of rain up there near South Carolina. Um, 12 inches when it comes inland. All along the coast could see definitely some stuff. Let's look at dew points. Okay. Temperatures aren't going to change too much. It's going to be cooler because of the hurricane, so that's good. Here we can also go to tropical, like this, and go HWERF model. This is Hurricanes Debbie's track. So right here, it's saying it's going to be a stronger hurricane, so on the stronger side of things. 979 millibar right here as it goes right into the Big Bend of Florida. Bringing pretty heavy rain, goes sort of into Georgia, hangs over Georgia for the time being. Okay, that's weird. Look at this one. This one says 985 millibar lowest. Tries to recuperate itself right around the South Carolina area, but probably gonna just cause some major torrential rainfall. Let's look at this one. So this one's more high, I guess tech comes in at 985, so this one agrees with the other model. Sort of hangs over the same area, South Carolina area. Okay. Basically the same thing as all the other ones. Let's see what the GFS has to say about it. 980 when it hits Florida. 980, 980, holy crap. Hangs over really the same area before just model goes haywire. See what this model says for Debbie. Comes in at 993. Coast somehow goes to 989, 985 So this one has a re-strengthening and becoming a stronger, possibly hurricane afterwards, actually having an eye wall, and then hanging over the same South Carolina area. That could be catastrophic damage if that happens with flooding amounts. Um, Look at this one. So here's what it's done. I mean, it really did strengthen quite a bit. It went from being only a 1008 pressure right there to 1000 pressure lower, and then here we go. So here's what it is right now. So right now it's at 1002 pressure. So it went from 1008 to 1002 in basically 24 hours. So pretty good. Actually, only 3 hours. So it's strengthening pretty good right now. This model has it going to 981 before basically just stalling over the same area and then trying to go backwards basically. This is a model where it basically goes over into like Alabama, Louisiana area, which, well, Mississippi, Louisiana area, which would be also pretty catastrophic. But this area would be more catastrophic in, oh wait, whoopsie daisy, be way more catastrophic in this general area. Maybe even, I'd include that area actually. I'd include something like this. This would be a pretty catastrophic torrential rainfall amount area if this model holds true, because this model's got the thing going up, doing like a little loop, and then going out this way. And it's got it slowing down pretty drastically in this area, so that wouldn't be good. Can look at this model's got it once again 985. These winds would be pretty strong winds, honestly, going upwards of decent areas of 70 knot winds. So once again, could see some stuff. Let's see if they even sound this. Probably not, though. You could see some strong winds definitely going inwards to this general area, along with some extreme storm surge. We can actually look. Let's look at Hurricane Center. Hurricane Center. Let's see what they got. I think they still have the same thing as earlier this morning when I posted my video. Greatest flash flood risk over the next 5 days, Savannah, Georgia, Charleston area. I agree with that. We can actually look though. Yeah, let's look at this. Alright, cool. This model has basically going in Florida, so what we do know so far is it will for sure impact somewhere in this area, and really in that area specifically, okay? So we know it's going to impact right in this area. Storm surge will be probably pretty significant. Then this is the area where it's got models doing weird things, so we think that it's gonna make landfall here. Okay, so it's gonna have some pretty strong storm surge, strong winds, possibly heavy flooding concerns, and then we think it's gonna go back out to sea. Some models are saying, or some models here, and stall over this genuine region. And the reason this is such a concern is because that region, if it stalls over this same region right here, it could cause catastrophic flooding. It's just going to stay there for several days in a row. And then the reason that this area is of concern as well is because this area could have strong winds that could knock down power lines, trees, storm surge that could be significant enough to cause damage to properties, possibly sweep people away if they weren't careful outside. But yeah, just overall consensus, stay safe in that area. We can look and see. Yeah, and then once that happens, it looks like it'll shoot pretty fast. It'll turn into just a low pressure system and shoot off that way. A couple models did have it strengthening off to sea, or even going out somewhere like this path, but I genuinely think it's gonna stay pretty close to this line and do something weird here and then die off out there. So overall consensus for that. Can look at the GFS symbols for sure. So GFS has this thing. Um, see, that's actually sort of shocking. They have this thing only going to 1,000. Granted, you can't take this because it's already lower than that, like as we're speaking. But it has it basically going haywire over here, and then even more haywire over here. So I don't know. It's gonna do something weird. Models still aren't even lining up. Another one it was. These ones aren't really though. Intensity guidance. A couple models have this thing possibly even going upwards of category 2. Definitely could see that as a concern. Then the next 12 to 36 hours, I'd say, could definitely see that thing possibly hitting up here. If it is category 2, it'll be a low intensity category 2 for sure, but could definitely see this happening for another 24-hour stretch. So for some reason, most models think that it's going to stay right around 50 to 60 mile an hour winds. I think it's probably already there. It's going to go up to category 1 for sure. And as you can see, some of the models think this will be right around the 24-hour range. So then they'll stay tropical storm pretty much all throughout the next 96 to maybe even longer than that. But this is really where the models start to go haywire, right around the 96-hour mark. So look at this. This is the GEPS tracks. This thing definitely has it once again going haywire right around here. So this is way different. This model has it like spaghettiing it, like spaghetti models, basically where everything shoots off in a different direction, goes haywire. It goes haywire before it even hits because this model was ran a little while longer. So not that cool. Here's the current track for where it's going to hit. So they think it's going to become a hurricane sometime this afternoon, I imagine, or late this evening, and then make landfall right around 8 a.m. Monday. So landfall 8 a.m. Go back to a tropical storm, obviously, as it doesn't have those proper conditions to keep that strength, but it definitely will still stay tropical storm strength, which is sort of impressive. And then here's the cone of uncertainty. Pretty big for right now. That's a pretty big area of uncertainty of where the eye is actually going to go. But the bigger it is, the more stalled out it's going to be. It turns into a depression here by Friday, thankfully. But it's going to stay over this area from basically Tuesday to Thursday. So that's a major flooding concern for this area right throughout here. So, and we got to worry about the storm surge. 6 to 10 feet is absurd in some areas. So, got to keep an eye on the storm surge for sure. Click on this. Here is what it is doing currently. Yeah. So as of most recently, we are seeing that area sort of starting to explode again as it's gaining strength. The model looks actually a little bit stronger. Got some of those storms definitely taking place and exploding. Up there, even near like the Orlando area, starting to pop off. Heavy rainfall is definitely going to be a concern, as it already is. Even like a couple hours ago, it's crazy. This thing's actually really starting to explode right here, so it's definitely starting to intensify pretty quickly. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Right down here too, that area's actually got decent strengthening. This whole area, it's finally starting to take shape of a normal tropical storm or hurricane, low-end hurricane. So it's very cool to see. That's neat. As you can see though, most things spinning counterclockwise. But then you see these clouds, these things are actually going clockwise, which is showing that it can strengthen pretty significantly over the next little bit. So definitely have to watch out for that too. Um, and what we mean by that is typically things go counterclockwise. It's going clockwise. It's showing more signs of actual strengthening possible. We can look actually observations of precipitation. So here is the last 6 hours. The last 6 hours, we have already seen decent rainfall right along the coast, just offshore of Florida, upwards of 4 to 5 inches in some area near Key West actually. So starting to get some rainfall there. Did have a couple of storms linger over that area near Texas and Louisiana. So we got upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain there as well. So that's actually impressive. Last 24 hours, we've had upwards of 8 to 10 inches of rain just off the coast of Key West and off the coast of Florida. 1 to 2 inches pretty widespread throughout Florida. Some areas probably localized 3 to 4. So that is definitely another concern. And it really is going to start to expand and just slow down, and that's not a good thing when it comes to storms. That means these storms are going to linger, linger, and linger, causing extreme flooding. Let me find, here we go, rainfall potential. Rainfall potential 20 inches. I think that is very likely going to be beyond 20 inches. I think it's going to be upwards of 30 to even 40 localized. Throughout Savannah and near Charleston area. So anywhere between Charleston and Savannah, definitely should be on the lookout, I should say, for 30 to 40 inches of rainfall totals, catastrophic flooding, and storm surge. Also down here, anywhere from basically east of Tallahassee, near Perry, Florida, actually. Uh, Storm surge is definitely another issue. 6 to 10 feet, 5 to 8 feet. They actually updated this area from 5 to 7 to 5 to 8 near Suwannee River and Yankeetown. Between that area, strong surge will be likely. And then another 2 to 4 feet out here, basically stretching from all the way mouth of St. Mary's River all the way to South Santee River. So, big area of 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, all the way to basically Indian Pass, that 2 to 4 feet, and then 4 to 6 actually up here for some very strong surge. Again, storm surge. Basically, all the water's just going inland to Florida. It could definitely cause major concerns throughout this area specifically. And we're already seeing some of the storm surge actually impact portions down here. Getting some flooding reports already, so you already got some storm surge watches and warnings probably out. Yeah, look at that. Whole big area, basically down from Tampa all the way up into past Tallahassee, actually, all the way to the Big Bend. All around it, we got storm surge warnings. We got storm surge watches down below that near Cape Coral area. Definitely could see very strong storm surge, as I mentioned. Here is the wind speeds. So this is tropical storm force wind speeds probabilities. 90%. This hasn't updated yet, but 90% chance that we'll see tropical storm force winds go inland to the Big Bend area of Florida. And then here's the hurricane force wind speed probabilities. This hasn't updated very much either, but 30 to 40% chance inland to see hurricane force winds, so definitely be on the lookout for those. Flash flooding potential, another very big concern. This is probably the biggest concern out of everything besides storm surge. Once again, flash flooding stuff. Same area, Savannah, Georgia, and then Charleston, South Carolina. And then they even got this 70%, which is a high risk for flooding, 70% chance within 25 miles of a given point for flash flooding. They got this almost going up into southern portions of North Carolina, which could be a big concern as well. This moderate risk goes from basically Tallahassee, Big Bend area of Florida, all the way up into Wilmington, North Carolina. So you could see some flooding issues there as well. Big 15% risk all the way up from Raleigh, however you say it. I don't get it. All the way into basically Fort Myers, Florida, and then once again the Big Bend area. So big 15%, 5% basically, just a little bit north of Miami, all the way up to like Norfolk area. Um, let's look at the cone once again. Cone of uncertainty. This thing is definitely going to stall out somewhere between Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina for several days at a time. If you notice right here, the last one before the next update is a basically 36-hour difference. So this will stall for most likely more than 24 hours over the same areas, causing extreme flooding amounts on this area again. Let's look and see. There are probably a couple tornado warnings. Right now, there's not much actually in the way of tornado warnings at all. Here's what the current radar looks like for Florida. We did have that tornado warning actually just pop up apparently. So apparently there is one. It's just not showing on National Weather Service. We'll refresh the page. So definitely some areas on these outer bands of the hurricane that are causing some rotation, enough to warrant that tornado warning. Pretty close to Tampa actually. Tampa's seen already quite a few areas of rotation in and around the areas. Just that little area of rotation. Wish I could zoom that in. Maybe we can in a little bit, but some pockets of heavier rotation have been spotted, so definitely a concern there. Storm surge warning actually in a place and in effect for Tampa area as well, so be on the lookout near Tampa. Probably already starting to cause impacts. We expect landfall to be tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. Anywhere between 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. the eye wall should hit, or landfall should take place at least. Let's see, flash flood warning. So, this is actually for Naples. Between 2 to 4 inches of rain have already fallen, and additional rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is already occurring. So flash flooding is already occurring for portions of Naples. I think I can actually look at that on radar here. Yeah, so as you can see, it's basically where this band has stalled out and causing excessive rainfall right around the Naples area, Everglades City, between those places. Some higher rainfall amounts are definitely going to take place, and that will be a concern for the foreseeable future. So that's why they warned that area. You can also look at the. Here, I can actually go to this. You can look at the SPC outlooks. So for day one, they actually did list that 15% chance, slight risk for severe weather down there near Florida. This will just be for tornadoes, 5% tornado risk, big 2%, basically covering the whole state besides a little bit of the panhandle. Big 5% tornado risk swaths the state, which is not expected, I should say. Not expected. So definitely was expected. We'll get some tornado impacts today, but thankfully they should be on the weaker side of things. If they are, they're very short-lived, or they're just not going to be that strong overall. Wind threat, they got that. They issued a 5% wind threat for the area. Obviously, you could see some stronger winds with some of these storms that roll through on these bands. 15% actually up there in Montana. Hail risk, there isn't a hail risk thankfully today for Florida, but definitely could see maybe some small hail possible with some of those storms if they get going enough. Day 2, we got that same slight risk area basically going from where it will hit somewhere in that general region all the way into South Carolina area. This is also going to be a 5% tornado risk area, along with apparently another 5% that I was totally unaware of for portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, and southern Minnesota. That's strange. I didn't see that even an hour ago. Hail threat. They don't think there will be a hail threat, thankfully, for this area down here. Once again, could see some smaller hail impacts, and then the wind threat. There isn't a wind threat tomorrow with some of those storms, so thankfully enough. Day 3, they only have that same very, very small marginal risk. This definitely could get expanded depending on where the hurricane stalls out at. I honestly think this might go even more inland, something like that for a marginal risk, maybe even a slight risk on the coast. But we will honestly just have to wait and see. Then we got two other marginal risks that day out, one near Montana, one near Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. Day four, they haven't said anything, thankfully, so after this goes through, weather should be pretty quiet for a little bit of time, thankfully. Go to observe precipitation over the last 24 hours once again. This area has hit upwards of 2 to 3 inches right around, pretty widespread throughout the anywhere from Miami all the way up near Tampa area. Um, and then obviously some areas where you could have seen maybe 3 to 4 inches, maybe even 5, throughout some of these areas over the last 24 hours. But definitely flooding once again, or big risk. So there is that. Put it on the satellite loop again. As you can see, right here, you can see this storm is obviously strengthening. You can see where that area is starting to really take shape. You can see overall, starting to see this thing expand out and turn into more of a typical low-level hurricane look. Honestly, it's got sort of got that look to it now. So it's finally looking a lot more put together and well built. Unlike yesterday it was basically this area was super far off of the other areas of. It just didn't look impressive at all. That's we'll just leave it at that. It didn't look impressive at all. Some of these areas are producing possibly very strong thunderstorms very high up, as you saw earlier. Those storms over there near the Tampa area definitely popped up and blew up for a little bit over there. So could see some issues with that. Can look at some of the forecast models again for the hurricane. This is probably one of the most outrageous models still out there. This model has it coming in at a 979, so a stronger hurricane if it does become one. Sort of stalling out over Georgia and then shooting back outwards, going in back out to sea at the Florida area, which would raise very, very major concerns for rainfall in southern Georgia and even portions of Florida. Let's look at this one. This model has this thing coming on as a 984, so once again a stronger-ish hurricane going onland, stalling out over Georgia, then South Carolina, and staying over South Carolina for a very, very long time, moving possibly even into northern Georgia and South Carolina, but very, very weak, so winds would be a lot less, and just general thunderstorms and rain showers would be a bigger threat. Look at this. This one has it coming onshore as a 985, so once again a decent possible hurricane, stalling out and basically going out to sea, and then apparently back inland to Florida, and then sort of just becoming general thunderstorms, like a low area of pressure. So nothing to be concerned about with this model, besides obviously heavy rainfall totals, maybe some wind threat when it comes onto shore. Can look at this. This model has it coming in at 993, and then sort of stalling out over the same area, Savannah, Georgia, to what's it called? Basically Savannah, Georgia area, causing some pretty intense rainfall for a while before actually strengthening back into a 985, which could be high-end tropical storm to even possibly hurricane force winds. So that is a model to keep in interest, because it has it strengthening pretty heavily actually into possibly becoming another hurricane when it goes off the shore of South Carolina. GFS has it coming in at 980 actually. So this run was a little bit better. This run is more realistic in my eyes when it comes inland. Could be a stronger Category 1 hurricane. Comes in stalls out over the Georgia area, and then it becomes scattered basically. Doesn't know what to do after that point, so it goes all over the place. Um, Look at this one actually. This one's a little bit differently. This one shows a little bit farther. So, this one has it becoming a 980. As you can tell, it just sort of sits over those two areas and sort of does this little movement because it's sort of really, really uneducated. It doesn't know what it's going to do after basically, let's say, 45 hours. Maybe a little bit more, but then it becomes haywire just like the rest of the models right now. Which is very, very unfortunate because that does not help us very much, does it? Once again, a couple outlier models have this thing turning into almost even Category 2 winds. This one has, actually, what is this model? The SHIP model has this thing once it goes inland and then goes back out to sea near South Carolina, almost strengthening up to a Category 2 again before sustaining Category 2 for almost a couple days at a time before going tropical storm. Definitely, that would be a major concern overall. Most of these models have this thing becoming low end Category 1 and then dying out to tropical storm force winds for 84, 96 hours, maybe even 108 hours before everything goes haywire. So we finally got a little bit of agreement at 108 hours. It used to go scattered at 48 hours. These models have been very, very scatter plotted for a while, so it's good to see that some of them are finally coming together and saying the same thing. Um, Currently, maximum winds are 50 knots. Gusts are not known at this point. Minimum central pressure is at 1001 millibars. Radiation of maximum winds are 90 nanometers, so getting up there now. Once again, they have this thing going hurricane by tonight at some point, or even early tomorrow morning, and then landfall anywhere from 3 to 8 a.m. So those are the current standings. Let's see if we have any new tornado warnings actually. Looks like we don't have any tornado warnings ongoing at this point. Looks like that tornado warning was discontinued. But definitely could see some more tornado warnings down there near Everglades City and Naples, possibly shoot up. Maybe even up there near Tampa again. That line seems to be a stronger line of storms. But definitely seeing some flash flooding events could be taking place today, so be prepared if you're in Florida for storm surge, flash flooding, tornado events, maybe. And then obviously the winds as they come onshore tomorrow morning. So yeah, let's look at a couple on the models. Let's look at some of the shorter term models and see what they have to say about the precipitation amounts. Here's the NAM model. The NAM model actually has upwards of 19 inches of rain off the coast of Florida. And by the time it comes onshore, 13 to maybe just a foot of rain near the Perry, Florida area, Big Bend area. Pretty widespread, 7 to 8 inches of rain throughout this area with pockets of upwards of a foot of rain once it goes a little bit farther inland near the Georgia area. This model has it stalling for quite a bit, more towards like the South Carolina area, but this one has it not as much rainfall as the other model shows, so that's good. The shorter term models definitely can help us in some scenarios. This model is got some areas of upwards of 7 to 8 inches of rain and then very localized spots, but upwards of 12 inches of rain when it comes onto shore. Maybe even pockets of 15 inches of rain, which would be absurd amounts of rain, but then the storm shoots off and starts firing out some big rainfall amounts over there in South Georgia and then South Carolina, upwards of 15 inches localized, maybe even 20 inches within a 24-hour period. So an inch of rain for every hour almost all day. Here's what it looks like overall. Total inches, it comes onto shore. Could see upwards of 17 inches of rain in some spots there. And then same thing with Florida, 17 inches of rain possible. So this one's actually sort of making me think of two big concerns now. Big Bend to Florida could definitely see some area of big rainfall amounts, and then also this area of South Georgia, South Carolina area. So that's one probably the worst case scenario, is having this thing stalls for several days at a time. Obviously, that's a shorter term model, so we can't really check with that. HRRR is even shorter term, but this thing has it coming on shore and causing, wow, pretty pretty excessive amounts of rainfall when it comes onto shore across a big area of Texas, widespread, upwards of like, I'd say 5 inches, 5 to 7 inches of rainfall all across Texas is what the HRRR is showing. It's a different type of model, higher resolution, and then once again causing heavier rainfall amounts, upwards of 13 to 14 inches near South Carolina, South Georgia. And then obviously those thunderstorms could cause upwards of 8 inches in some of the southern portions, even of Florida. We're already starting to see some of the flash flooding issues, so it doesn't look good. Don't know if I looked at this one. I think I did. Maybe not, because this one has 17 inches of rain near the Big Bend area of Florida when it comes onshore, so, well, another model to keep your eye on. Scary, scary things could definitely come with this. Scary rainfall totals. Currently, once again, that same area is starting to explode again, as it's been exploding for over like the past hour to 2 hour areas. Yeah, really 2.5 hours of explosive thunderstorms and explosive convective starting to really explode right there throughout the storm. And then now we're starting to see some more thunderstorms pop up that could be stronger in this next outer band that comes inwards. So definitely keep an eye out for those. Starting to actually see even some more thunderstorms pop up here near the Big Bend of Florida with one of that outer line. We'll actually look at that. Yeah, so that would be with the line near Gainesville, Florida right now. Could definitely see some areas of rotation possibly. We already actually have a couple areas of rotation. That wouldn't surprise me if they were warned right there, actually. We actually have like 3 areas of rotation that are popping up right there. So that definitely isn't good. We have one area of rotation right here, another area of rotation with that storm right there, and these storms are genuinely moving in the direction of Gainesville, maybe a little bit northwestern more, but definitely could see some rotation with those storms. I wouldn't be surprised if those storms also get warned if they aren't already. Let's see. No, they aren't warned. That is actually genuinely surprising. Keep an eye out if you're near the Gainesville area. Definitely some tighter rotation pockets coming through the area that could cause some possibly funnel clouds, maybe even a tornado or two. Wouldn't rule out. Here are the current weather observations for the areas. So, Ocala International, light rain. There's thunder in the area in Williston, Brooksville, rain and mist. Not even going to try and pronounce that. Zephyrillus, got rain and mist. St. Pete to Clearwater, rain and mist. St. Petersburg, mist. Currently, here are the wind amounts. There's actually 32 mile an hour winds out of St. Petersburg right now, so winds are starting to pick up there. Rainfall amounts. Yeah, precipitation in 1 hour near Tampa International. It says light rain, even though there's rainfall amounts upwards of almost an inch an hour. So keep an eye out near Tampa International. Heavy rain in Tampa Executive. Um, rain in Plant City. Heavy rain slash thunderstorms in Lakeland. And then overall winds, I'd say 17 to 13 miles an hour. And then here we go. Sarasota got 23-mile-an-hour winds, heavy rain. Coral Creek Airport, rain and mist with south-southeast, 24-mile-an-hour winds. Punta Gorda, we have heavy rain with mist, 23-mile-an-hour winds out of the south. So definitely starting to see the winds pick up throughout a lot of these areas right along the coast. So yeah, let's look at the satellite loop. It's loop 24. It's not looping. Oh, well, that's helpful. Anyway, you can see on satellite that this is starting to become very organized. Lots of cloud, pretty widespread cloud cover across. There we go. And you can really see right, wow, actually, yeah, you can really see where that area is starting to really explode right near where the eye wall will be at some point. Already got those clouds starting to rope into the storm. And then we have those outer bands shooting outwards and then sort of coming across inland, rotating around the low pressure. Very, very cool. Very, very neat. Let's look at the satellite loop again. Refresh the page. That is a big area of concern right now. Very, very explosive storm going on right in there near the center of the low pressure, so really starting to explode. This thing's moving about 13 miles an hour, going straight northeast upwards. It's going to impact this area once again, so that will be there sometime early Monday morning, so you got about a day to prepare. Well, really like 12 hours to prepare. Oh. Stronger area of concern. Once again, we're actually starting to see some more thunderstorms start to pop up throughout this region, as another band will most likely take place soon enough coming onshore there near Naples, so the rainfall will not stop in that area. Let's see, got the low pressure, the winds. It's a decent map. And also we do have a couple storms out there in the Pacific taking place. We actually have one that will turn into a storm, and I think it was even possibly a hurricane. No, that wasn't a hurricane. There's no way. But out there in the Pacific, that could possibly be troubling, but maybe not. We'll just have to end up waiting and seeing what will happen. This one's actually sort of impressive and could maybe cause impacts if this goes more northernly upwards. So, we'll see. Anyway, back to Debbie talk. Precipitation amounts could be very, very, very bad. Look at the GFS again. These are 3-hour totals, so these are lesser, but it's still got this thing upwards of 3 inches in 3 hours, so inch of rain an hour, so decent amounts, and then strengthens and stays, and then goes back over Georgia before the model goes haywire. Maybe even another stronger area of rotation. That's actually sort of weird to me. It has another low pressure system coming in like the exact same path. That's not Debbie. That's a different storm that is trying to make out. Could happen, but there is. You never know because there is that tropical wave actually. Here we'll go back to hurricane. We got this 10% disturbance that could come through the same area maybe, but it's a 10% for causing any impacts in the next what is it? Next 48 hours. Chance for formation over the next 7 days is 20%. So that thing will most likely just be low pressure, but you never know. We could see another possible tropical storm sometime up through this area. So just have to keep our eye out. But if you could not tell, all of this is another push. This is another tropical wave coming into the same areas, up through the same area, and we could see definitely more tropical storms, possibly even hurricanes with this tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa. So, could definitely happen. Um, we have obviously a couple things out there right now. Tropical Storm Daniel, Tropical Storm Carlotta, Tropical Depression 5E, and then we have a disturbance that has an 80% chance of forming, which it looks the most impressive and could become a hurricane, but if it does, impacts aren't supposed to come to the U.S. It's actually impressive how much stuff is there storm-wise for Daniel. It's big area of storms off the coast of Hawaii. No impact should be felt on Hawaii, thankfully, so that's the good news. Hawaii shouldn't have any issues with that to come for the foreseeable future over the next week or so. Same can't be said for the U.S., though. Especially Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Just have to wait and see what this ends up doing. I mean, my prediction is this thing's going to go like this. No, I think it's going to go maybe a little bit farther inland. It's going to weaken a little bit, but stay over the same area before maybe shooting off like something like that. But definitely, it's going to take its sweet time to go over this area, so be ready before shooting off this direction. So that's what I think is going to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Really high, hot temperatures, I should say, in the Gulf right now, though, is not helping anything when it comes to these storms. Especially these guys. If these guys can actually form, it could definitely have a ton of potential. This one specifically could have potential to cause some wreak havoc on the U.S. and Mexico areas. Lesser Antilles, Greater Antilles, Cuba could definitely see some impacts if this thing actually does form. So let's check again, see if we got anything in Florida, any warnings. Looks like we do have a severe weather statement going into Sanford and just out of Titusville, going into Deltona and Daytona sometime soon. Oh, I hate this radar. Please give me a different radar. There we go. So it will be this storm right here. This might even go severe warned if it's not already. A little bit of a bean could definitely cause some issues. Let's see if it's got any little pocket of rotation for a couple scans there, but nothing I don't think you'd be worried about. Although this one right here, this will probably go tornado warned, if I'm being honest. Doesn't look good. I mean, it looks like there's a stronger area of rotation right around the same area. I think it's right by Arcadia again. I think Arcadia's had the same couple storms go back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, right there. Anytime you see those darkers and then these brighter colors go together, like not like right here, that's just wind, that's just that. But when they're really tight pockets of small little areas of rotation, like the ones right there, that's not a good sign, that's a sign of rotation. And don't mind this, this is because of the radar sites somewhere in this area. Actually, probably right around the Tampa area. Anytime you do see that, though, just, it's rotation, so something could come of that. Uh, let's see, how long have we been live for? I don't even know that. Got 2 people watching. I did post a video about this that goes a little bit in depth of some of the things that it could do. 50 minutes? That's not that bad. What is it doing? Oh my god. Why am I doing that? It's been a long time since I've streamed decently. What is this doing? Okay, there we go. 50 minutes ago. Alright, cool. let's check on our rotation up there near Gainesville area, where I thought there could have been some. Pockets actually looks even more impressive than beforehand. One of those pockets weakened, but areas of rotation look likely. Here are what the winds could look like. So, winds could get stronger up in the upper levels before dying out, becoming a bigger wind field, and then that's what the HWRF model. So, look at the HMOD. This model has a bigger actual wind field in size, but lesser actual winds. So, we'll just have to see. I mean, these models always do this sort of stuff where they don't align until the very day of. So, that's what sucks about trying to track hurricanes is sometimes the models don't align for them. And if you couldn't tell this, it's not just the models; it's everything. The cone of uncertainty is basically the whole state of North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. I mean, I get this is a ways out, but look at the size of this thing. It's basically like, yeah, this thing could impact to the West Coast or the East Coast. You never know. Obviously not that extreme, but yeah, definitely could be a problem. Tropical storm. Current wind field estimate. Currently right around this area. Tropical storm winds could be felt inland near the Tampa Bay area. Up there in it. So yeah, you just never know. Just stay prepared, and you should be good. I will probably leave this. What I will do actually, I will. Okay, no, not that. Can I? Oh my god, fine. I guess I'm doing this. Window capture. We will go. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the radar loop. Actually, we'll go radar loop. Where did it go? Tropical storm. Current storm. Sorry, trying to figure this out. Oh, what did I do? Sorry, I'm trying to set this up so we can... Oh my god, you know what? Delete it. Just delete, please. Delete window capture and reset window capture up. Window capture. Okay, cool. Please stay on this one. Except it doesn't play. Okay, so I will be back whenever we end up having more severe storms. Or tornado warnings or more information on it. But for right now, I will try and loop this. I don't know why it's not looping.